Today I'm drinking some tea I made from ground cloves. I was watching this Serbian woman on YouTube, and she has a whole series of videos of things that you can make that will last a year when you jar them for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. And one of them was clove tea. This has a dash of orange juice in it. Apparently, this clove tea is good for women's libido. Tea for thought. Oh, hello, viewers. Something I've noticed a lot of in the workplace lately, zombies. But not the cool ones that you pile up for extra points. But people at work, not really there. I know I've had that experience. Maybe you're also having that experience where you're not really at work with full vitality. You're at work physically, but you're not there mentally. You're not lit up. I think we've all been there at some point. You're doing one thing, but your mind is thinking of something else that's on another planet, or maybe your mind is thinking of a million things at once. So this is what I have discovered lately. There are two main ways to be utterly miserable at work. Firstly, you treat work as a means to an end, including the people that you work with, the conversations that you have, and every minute that you're at work, you'd rather be somewhere else. And secondly, comparing your life and your job to somebody else's life and their job and perceived wins steals joy. And what's interesting I've found is that we're often only comparing to the best parts of somebody else's life, where I'm exposed to quite a lot of wealthy people, financially wealthy. There are a lot of miserable rich people, and it's also made me discover a few patterns. So in glamorizing somebody's success, often we want their money, but we don't want their anger management issues or their lack of vitality and joy in their life, because it takes maniacal obsession to become really, really good at one area of life, and often that's at the sacrifice of everything else. Being willing to put in 80 hours plus of work per week, you don't really get a weekend off. And the relationships are largely whatever's left over after spending all of that time not being with family. So how do we take a different approach to this? How do we not just reinvent the wheel? So what can we do? Is enjoying work, especially when you identify that maybe the work that you're doing is not exactly lighting you up? Is it a matter of simply doing the opposite of those two things? The opposite being, firstly, treating the work as the win, not the pay packet, not the promotion, but what you're doing every day is the win. And the second thing being, do we simply just stop comparing our life to other people? There's something to be said for both of those ways of handling a job where you find it's not exactly you're not exactly inspired and you're not passionate about it, and it's not something you would stick your hand up voluntarily to work overtime for, and you certainly wouldn't do it if you didn't get any financial benefit. They're great notions to consider, and they are two helpful guides to use when you're compassionately inquiring into your own life choices. For example, and this is where I'm revealing a little bit about my own mental flip and mental change and challenges that I've had over the years, I considered success, according to my definition, was that I would be a highly paid film and TV actor who did it full time. So falling short of that was something like if you had a day job, or if you needed a job to tie you from week to week or a month to month or in between jobs, I consider myself to be a failure. That's not a very healthy mental state or perspective to be viewing my life through, because ultimately what that meant was I started resenting the day jobs that I did have, and that's not healthy for anyone. And I defined my success, or whether I was good at something, this is even more dangerous territory. If you see that you might be good at something, but if you're not getting paid for it, then you start questioning whether you're good at it. It's really unhealthy to have that as a definition of success. So my brain started associating having a job with sucking at life. Are you waking up happy? Am I waking up happy? Am I waking up excited for what's ahead for the day? And happy doesn't mean bouncing off the walls. Contentment is a good feeling. Appreciating is a good feeling. A calm, quiet feeling of joyful anticipation about your day, that's a good feeling. Just waking up and having another shot. You might have totally stuffed it up yesterday. It's okay, you got a new slate. In terms of being dissatisfied with your work, I realized there's going to be a level of mundaneness or challenge or uninspiring things about every single thing you could do on the planet. And that's when I realized it's not necessarily the situation, it's not necessarily the job that's the problem, it's our thoughts, it's our interpretation. It's the thoughts that keep dropping in, the stories we keep saying, which makes the situation unbearable. So our thoughts are creating the misery. Our situations are relatively neutral. Take the example of the rain. I love the rain personally, but rain is relatively neutral. It's going to happen. Plants need it, the world needs it. But if I started associating every time it rains, I'm like, oh, now I can't go outside. Oh, now it's going to ruin my shoes. Oh, now my hair's a mess. Oh, the humidity. And now I'm stuck inside. And I start just layering on all of the misery when it rains. And then before you know it, I hate the rain. Every time it rains, I feel this level of anxiety and trapped and stuck. And it was the thoughts that did it. It's not the rain. It's my meaning I've attached to the rain that makes me miserable. So I thought about, what if I did that with the job? What about if we're doing that to our work? It's like your thoughts have ruined your day and you did it. Ugh! You might be thinking, wow, why are you so zen, Gemma? It's because, well, recently I went and saw Eckhart Tolle in person, and he was sharing a lot of course, as you would expect, quite insightful stories and lessons that he's learned throughout his life. And there's one thought in particular that got stuck in my brain and has now fully set up camp there. I can smell marshmallows. The more you're thinking about consciously or unconsciously the past or the future, you are missing the now. And the now is all there is. So if your mind is constantly occupied by the past or the future, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to live life. Yet, I've done this, and maybe you've done this as well, but we as people tend to treat the present moment as sometimes an inconvenience to get from point A to point B. And right now it's just annoying, and we're just traveling. We're in the travel zone, like getting the train from home to work. We're just bzzz, and we only value once we get there. And then once we get there, we want to be somewhere else. How many ways, holy crap, have I been living my life where I'm just trying to get from A to B? We may start treating other people as an inconvenience or an interruption because we'd rather be somewhere else. Speed bump on my way to doing and going somewhere else. Sleepwalking our way through life into an imagined future or in recalling old memories and replaying them. We live like zombies. We're never fully here, but we're unable to be in the past or in the future. So lose, lose, lose. And you try looking back and remembering what your life was composed of, and you're thinking, most of my life was just running around trying to do something else. Not being completely present is something that I'm working on. My gosh, it's a struggle. So here's something else I've discovered, and here's something, treat it as a game, because it's way more fun to learn through pleasure than when you've had a complete breakdown and then you're trying to start from zero. A fun tool that I have been using lately is, I'd like to call it the zombie clock. I have set a buzzer on my phone to go off at intervals. And every time the buzzer goes off, it's a gentle buzz, not like, like fill your pants kind of surprise. Every time it buzzes, I ask myself, am I actually 100% focused on the task in front of me, right in front of me? Or is my mind thinking of something else as I'm just going through the motions? I have pretty much failed every time that buzzer went off. I challenged myself to go for a walk, put an earbud in. Every 30 seconds, I would have this timer ding, gently ding in my ear, to see whether I was paying attention to just being fully present on my walk around the city. Every time, my mind was thinking about something else. It was solving a problem. It was thinking, oh, did I remember to do this thing, send this email? How will I be more productive today? I'd hear a sound and my mind would go off into a story of what that sound means. And I went, gosh, we have been trained, especially if you're living in a high-paced city or a high-paced environment, we have been trained to be constantly interrupted, to not have 100% attention, uninterrupted attention on a task at hand. So we've trained our mind to be flighty. Like, maybe we all have some level of ADHD simply from the environments that we're growing up in. I don't know, but it feels like I have 50 tabs open in my mind. Anyway, it's a really fun app. Have a play. I'd love to hear what your, if you've had any success every 30 seconds, I'd love to know, because I failed every 30 seconds and I went, wow. And I thought I was pretty good at staying present, but the ding doesn't lie. I just can't even speak English anymore. Oh gosh, this is such a mess. It's called what's it called? Oh, now I have to stop recording so I can look at it on my phone. 1 second. I'm undigging the hole. I seem to have dug myself.